Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're getting this video, could be that time of day. Just wanted to come on and give a backstory to the tale of the muddy flashlight. Um, it is currently 6:42 in the morning on Tuesday. Waiting for the sun to get up a little bit earlier. I'm at one of my customer stops. It's a residential, so just taking my time. Look at this beautiful uh, sunrise. It's like 70 degrees out. Gorgeous. Got a slight breeze. I was gonna take a video of I had a stop at Universal Studios this morning, but I'll be there next week. And I got a couple of them, but they're not that. This one was actually inside the park, right by the Transformers ride. But I did wanted to give, a backstory to the tale of the muddy flashlight. It's something that, I used to write a lot. I used to write a lot of poetry and stories and raps, and I just loved writing. It's been a long time since I've been consistent with the writing, and I wanted to get back to it. And I would start things but never finish them. So that's what I'm working on right now, is being more consistent, the consistency. So that's not a new goal when I start something, to try to finish it. Now I'm currently teaching myself the piano. Been doing that for a couple months. I've been seeing progress, but at times I wanted to give up. I'm trying to follow these lessons that these people are putting on YouTube, and when you don't see the progress, or months go by, but finally I started getting more comfortable with the keys. And I'm not trying to get off topic, but consistency. I'm really trying to be more consistent in the things that I start, at least to make a valiant effort and attempt and to complete it. I will be able to play the piano one day, fully. So right now it's spotty, but I'm proud of myself, and it feels good to to start it and to see the progress. And when you put your mind to something, you can do it. So is that story that I wrote true? It is true. It is a true story. Obviously I added some things in there to make it more palatable. The Hollywood, I guess you could say. But yeah, it was a true story. I do have a picture of that flashlight. I will put it up as I'm talking now. But what happened was, it was that degrees. Like, that was an exaggeration. It was probably the end of the summertime going into fall. I was in Kentucky at a rest area, right outside of Paducah. So I think it's like I-55 or 57, where I think it connects to 24. I forget. It's been so long since I've traveled the United States like that some of the highways are, they're all mixed up. But I think it's on that tail end of I-55 where it merges into 24, and then you can go into Nashville that way. So I was at a rest area there. I was parked at a spot where, to my right, it was the like a median, and to my left there was parking. And I guess I just didn't notice, or just didn't remember. You get in, last thing you want to do, you're not checking everything. You check your load real quick at the end of the day, and you keep it moving. So I get up, typical time. I was usually up by like 2 o'clock every morning on the road, especially if I had a load. I'm early. I'm trying to get as many miles as I can. If you can get like 4 to 6 hours driving without any traffic, you're setting yourself up for success for the day. So I got up, started doing my pre-trip. Like I said, went around the driver's side. Everything was fine. I did trip over the curb on the other side. That was accurate. I did have my slides on. That was accurate. And then when I was looking, I wasn't really, I'm still tired. I'm still half asleep. So what happened was I didn't notice there was like a mud hole there. So I took a step and all I realized that I was underwater. So come to find out, I go back to that same spot because I was trying to see if I could find my slide. I go back to that same spot months later and I could see. So what happened was another driver, must have been rainy or something, since that curb was right there. And some of these rest areas, they're pretty tight, especially if there's a truck there. So I'm assuming he jumped the curb and his steer tire went into the dirt and it made like a canoe shape, like in and out. So it went deep and then so that's what it was. But it had been raining and all that other stuff. It filled with water. So as I'm walking and I'm up on the curb now and I'm not paying attention, I'm looking at the truck. When I stepped, I slid down the path of the tire track, and there was so much water in there. And the way it was, like, it wasn't like a flat surface. It was, it started at an angle, went deep, and then went back up. So I kind of followed the track of the tire, and I was completely underwater. So that part was not fabricated either. I was splashing around, and I'm still learning on this editing stuff. So like I was trying to put as much like sound effects as I could, but the program that I'm using to edit, you can't, like, you can make certain cuts, but like if I added like the sound of like me splashing water, it would have it just wouldn't have sounded right. So I just didn't put it in. Some sound effects I did, like the alarm and stuff, because you can put it on a different line, but then some you can't import it. It's just the software that I have right now. Eventually I will update it and get better ones. But yeah, that's what happened. I was underwater and I'm wailing around. I finally stand up. Like I said, it was cold. It was in the 50s with a slight breeze. So I finally, I'm slipping to get out. And as I get out, and I'm starting to walk, I noticed that one of my slides is gone, and I'm looking to see if it's floating. It's not, it's stuck. At least at that moment, it was stuck at the bottom in that mud. I finally get around to the driver's side and I just strip. Like I'm looking around at first to see if other trucks saw me, somebody caught me on video. Am I going to make a YouTube page? Am I going to be on Bonehead Truckers? And so I threw that little, just humor in there. If you're a truck driver and you follow certain pages, you know about Bonehead Truckers and about the flip-flops and stuff. So that was just comedy. But yeah, I did that first. I scanned. And, everybody was asleep. No one, that I know of caught me wailing around in the water or full of mud. So I stripped right there. I started dang, can I salvage my clothes? But it was some dirty old neon high vis shirt that I had anyway, so I took it off, stripped from that. I had a towel that I went into the truck, grabbed the towel, and I started drying myself. The pants I had were just some work pants, threw the socks, throughout the slide. And the only thing that was left that, I was able to keep was the flashlight. So that's where, I came up with the tale of the muddy flashlight. So all in all, I want to start doing more stories. I really did it just to give, like I said, this is going to be different content. It's not all going to be trucking, but, just wanted to see if you guys liked it. If you like what can I improve on? I probably did 11 takes on trying to get that story through. I get the whole thing done, and then the last word, I stumble it. So then I got to re-record it and stuff. So I didn't, you don't realize how hard or how much work it takes to go into some of these videos, even if they're not even I look at some of these videos that, they get millions of views, but the editing and, they might have people that do it. But when you're doing it yourself, it is time consuming. It is, and when you have a real life outside of that, I'm trying to watch my kids and do this video and edit and do these things and write these stories. And so I just hope y'all enjoyed. I enjoyed it. It felt good getting that pen to paper again and getting things jotted down. And I got tons of stories that I can write. And I got other ideas. It's helping those creative juices flow. So I'm excited for, you know, what's to come for this channel. I'm just gonna continue just to see what happens with it. I'm just excited just to get things out. You know what I mean? It's therapeutic to me. So I hope y'all enjoyed it. I already got an idea for the next one. And if you guys have any ideas, let me know. If you know what you liked about the story, what you didn't like about the story, what could have been better. You know, I'm down for feedback. If it was the wackest thing ever, then let me know. Like, just because, you know, I wrote it doesn't mean, you know, you gotta like it. Or just because I put it out here on YouTube and I think it's, you know, I think it's good, or I think, you know, we could be our own hype man at times, where it's our thing, it's our baby, and we think it's just, you know, it's the bee's knees, and literally it you know, it could be the wackest thing that was put on YouTube, you know. So I'm down for all types of feedback, but I appreciate y'all. Again, let me show you this you know what I mean? So it's too much to edit. This is who I work for. I was noticing this is where I'm at. It's the company I work for. Great company. I'm already, you know, as much as I was like, I'm not gonna show anybody, but like, I'm looking at the video and I'm trying, you know what I mean? I'm not being able to be my full self because I'm trying to hide who I work for, but I'm gonna represent them in the best possible way. And I want to do a day in the life of a propane driver. I know there's some out there, but you know, just my perspective. But I want to do it on a cool day when I have some cool stops to show y'all. So that's where I'm at. I appreciate y'all tuning in to the channel, Fly Life. You know, if you can first love yourself first, and then you can start loving others, man. So, but definitely got to learn to love yourself first, and then things will start to fall into place. But I hope y'all have a great day. Y'all be blessed, and I'll talk to y'all next time. Peace.